We saw there was a massive demand. People were saying, listen, I want to drink less, I want to cut back on alcohol, but there wasn't a supply. Like, the only thing you got was these watered down alcohol free beers.
Yeah.
This is back in 2016, before Heineken Zero, before any alcohol free drinks, really. And we said, okay, cool, let's launch the Dutchess, the world's first alcohol free gin and tonic. And the first year we sold 1 million units.
So a completely different culture. You think I'm Afrikaans? It's a completely different culture. It's like that's the thing. And interestingly enough, that also came in again when we launched the Dutchess. So that experience in the Netherlands and the ideas and things I saw there. But I then went to UCT, not Stellenbosch, so I wanted to be alternative. I started studying property investment, which is very far from where I ended up. The quick thing on that, the reason I'm not in property development is I was set to finish my degree in 2009 when the global property market fell apart. So I decided, you know what, it was my first pivot. So I went into advertising, and in advertising you learn a lot about building brands, and you meet a lot of people. You get to try your ideas on other people's brands, which is great. But then at some point I decided, you know what, I'm ready to start my own business.
Tell us about those the early stages of you in your first jobs. What was it like? What did you learn? What are some of the things that you maybe thought were not useful then, but then now when you're running your own company, you're like, wow, the thing I learned when in my first job or second job was useful.
I'm going to go way back with this. So my first, not really my first job, but my first entrepreneurial experience was when I was 10, and it was at the 1998 KTV Market Day. They used to have it here at the Goodwood Centre. It was massive. I was preparing for it for months. Put a lot of effort in. I really calculated, like you said, like how much money I was going to make at my little 10-year-old spreadsheet before Excel, and somehow convinced my dad, who's an artist, to give me a lot of direction on the product. But still, like, we made beautiful artworks and type of things, and anything that, everything that really doesn't sell. So I think that, like, I spent the whole day there, standing there, and I didn't sell one thing. I didn't sell nothing. I was zero. And I think the biggest kind of lesson I learned from that, it was actually the biggest lesson I think I've learned, is always have a product market fit. You know, and next year sell zombies or cook sisters or something.
Brilliant. I think that's like a tough lesson all the time for entrepreneurs, because a lot of times we fall in love with our idea. As entrepreneurs, we call our ideas babies, which I believe is a mistake, because you don't want people to tell you that your baby is ugly. Instead of calling your ideas babies, call them experiments, because that way you can change and pivot. Because, hold on, did you have any ideas that you really fell in love with but they just didn't really work?
I think there are loads. The way I like to test, and this is where I spoke earlier, test ideas, is a lot of people build ideas for years and then they take it to market and they bootstrap it for years and things. And I tend to do things a little bit differently. I have an idea, and then I build a quick investment deck. So, and then if I still feel like in the next few months that the idea could work, I go pitch the investment deck, and then if I get the funding, then I do it, because that's your first sort of, okay, cool, there seems to be a bit of a market, people are willing to invest money into it, so you can make that work. And then, and then you try it, it sometimes fails. I've had businesses that failed. Definitely had a lot of bad ideas.
Tell me, why did you decide to go non-alcoholic drinks?
We saw there was a massive demand. People were saying, listen, I want to drink less, I want to cut back on alcohol, but there wasn't a supply. Like, the only thing you got was these watered down alcohol free beers.
Yeah.
This is back in 2016, before Heineken Zero, before any alcohol-free drinks really. And we said, okay, cool, let's launch a Dutchess, the world's first alcohol-free gin and tonic. And the first year we sold 1 million units.
So as a South African who is competing with a lot of people from international companies, what is it that is different about what Dutchess do that you haven't seen in the market?
So I think we had some first mover advantage. We were the first alcohol-free gin and tonic in the world, so that got a lot of attention. We did a lot of marketing, PR. We did marketing all over the world, and then I think we also really we just put in a lot of time and effort in that first year. You know, like really authentically, we went around the world, did talks. We educated people on the alcohol-free drinks category, and I think by doing that, we were seen as pioneers.
Yeah. So there's probably a young boy or a young girl sitting at home who has never dreamt of becoming a business person, but seeing you being successful globally, not only in South Africa, a South African-born, Cape Town-born young man who's doing so well for himself and putting our country in the map, what would you say to that person who aspires to become a business person or who doesn't even think of becoming a business person?
I would say believe in yourself, number one, work hard, and stay in math. Math is important. You need to be able to count, and no, really, like follow your heart, because you end up being good at the things you do well, and you love the things that you're good at.
So we know for every successful business, there's always challenges. Challenges might not be the same. What are the challenges that you have faced so far, and what did you do to conquer them or to overcome those challenges?
I think as a small company, you are competing against very big companies. People copy your product. You have to compete on price. Your brand only takes you so far. So I think you do get demotivated sometimes. You lose big listings because multinationals come in and kick you out. But it's important to understand where your superpower lies, what you're really good at, and to focus on that and let the people that are good at what they do focus on the rest.
You mentioned a superpower. What do you think your superpower as a business person is, and what keeps you going and you improving the product every time when you find it hard, when you see that there's a challenge? What is your superpower as a person, but also as a businessman?
I would say that, like I said, I think the things you enjoy the most are the things you're best at. So my superpower is creative ideation. So that starting out like seeing a problem like in the world, seeing a demand in the world, and then coming up with a solution for that. I think that's really my bread and butter.
Thank you very much for coming, and thank you for a great event. We've learned so much from you, and thank you for putting our country in the map, and keep wearing your KA jacket.
Amazing.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
I think that's like a tough lesson all the time for entrepreneurs, because a lot of times we fall in love with our idea. As entrepreneurs, we call our ideas babies, which I believe is a mistake, because you don't want people to tell you that your baby is ugly. Instead of calling your ideas babies, call them experiments, because that way you can change and pivot. Because hold on, did you have any ideas that you really fell in love with but they just didn't really work?
I think there are loads. The way I like to test, and this is where I spoke earlier, test ideas, is a lot of people build ideas for years and then they take it to market and they bootstrap it for years and things. And I tend to do things a little bit differently. I have an idea and then I build a quick investment deck. So, and then if I still feel like in the next few months that the idea could work, I go pitch the investment deck, and then if I get the funding, then I do it, because that's your first sort of, okay, cool, there seems to be a bit of a market, people are willing to invest money into it, so you can make that work. And then, and then you try it, it sometimes fails. I've had businesses that failed. Definitely had a lot of bad ideas.
Hi, Mr. Sandros. My name is Khanyi Swazanga. Welcome to our channel. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and what do you do?
I'm the CEO and founder of Pranary, and Pranary is a practical business school for entrepreneurs, and it's an entrepreneur community. So we bring other entrepreneurs to teach entrepreneurs, which is very different from traditional schools.
So what made you decide that you'd want to go that route instead of just maybe have events where it's just one entrepreneur teaching people that are not into business? Why did you go into, what did you see was the need for you to go with entrepreneurs, with another entrepreneurs, teaching them whatever that you would like them to learn?
I found that entrepreneurs like learning, but they don't like class. They don't like school.
Yeah.
So they like to learn from other people who are doing it. So they got a lot more respect than somebody who's just talking, reading from a textbook. So why we do these events at Pranary is that we like to bring people who are actually in the trenches who are doing things to teach practically. And it came out of my own frustration of doing an MBA. I still didn't know what to do in my startup or in my small business. And then interviewing over 100 founders and investors, and the things they kept talking about were consistent around being practical and learning and doing and talking to customers, stuff that you don't learn in class.
Yeah. So when I was booking for this event, I found that there's no fixed amount that one has to pay. It starts from as little as 50 rands. And why is that? Why did you decide that you don't want people to pay a certain amount? Because for most events, one has to pay maybe 250 rand, especially if it's an event for entrepreneurs. Why did you decide that it goes as far as free?
Zero, yeah. So we decided the model of pay what you want, meaning you can pay from zero to whatever amount you want. That way we allow everybody to make it. So events cost money. Like those food and drinks and all of that costs money. And we're not like a super rich company. So, but we give 10% of what we do in terms of like whether it's earnings or whether it's our time, resources, we give that to help the community. We believe that the more access we give to more people, the more everybody's going to rise. So we believe that a rising tide lifts up all ships. Like if we have the information and somebody can watch it online and it just changes them, that's a big deal for us. So we appreciate it when people pay, but also if they can't pay, that's fine as well.
Thank you very much for that. So what I also wanted to know is, how do you measure the impact? Because for instance, when you go to class, you get marked, and that's how they know that you have learned whatever that they're trying to make you learn. So how do you measure the impact? Because it's people coming in and more people coming in every time when there's an event. For instance, when I came in the first time, there was a lot of people, but there's more people now. It even goes as far as that glass door. So how do you measure the impact of your whatever that you wanted to achieve when you started this? How do you measure the impact?
So we measure impact by, first of all, just the first thing is just really the connections people have made. So you come here, you meet somebody else, and something sparks, whether it's a new business relationship or you just have a friend you can talk to. Now you've expanded, your contacts, your networks, and that's powerful. So a lot of times people think like, I need to get business, but really, you need to just make a friend. And when you're doing something, that friend will recommend you to somebody else who might give you business. Sometimes you can straight away get business, but aim to make friends, not contacts. So I see, for instance, a lot of people do networking very badly, where they're just like, hi, my name is, here's my card. Like, you didn't even talk to me. Like, the card, I just take it, it goes to the back pocket, and then I never do anything with it because there isn't any connection. So that's number one. Then number two, we look at the results. So the people who actually come through our programs, marking their passing is when you come in, you say, my name is Kanyus and my business is doing so much. Then at the end of the program, we see, have you increased your revenue? Have you increased? Have you grown? Like whatever program you're in, we measure your growth because that's what matters. So we are practical and we focus very much. We emphasize a business should make money. So a lot of people are
why you're into business.
A lot of people are uncomfortable with that. But the people who are uncomfortable with business make money. then I'm broke, and then the businesses fail. You know, like, so are you gonna just run a business and give stuff for free? Like, you need to charge and charge correctly so that you can pay yourself and pay other people, and then the business also needs to grow. So you can pay your suppliers, your employees. So run a business sustainably, and that's what we teach in all our programs. That way, then people grow, and then the other part is really the number of people that actually raise investment. So we've had companies come to us, some from pure idea and launching and getting launched and raising money in 3 months.
Wow.
So they've raised now over 20 million rands collectively, and then with at different stages because they're all small businesses, but they're raised differently. So that's what we do, and those are the things that are important to us.
Yeah. So I'm testimony to the first comment because I made a friend on the first time and she gave me these earrings.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, so it's really true that these events really work because we are now good friends. We meet even outside Pranary. And you mentioned that you do more programs than just these events. Yeah. And I've seen on your social media as well that you guys are doing so much more. What are the other programs that you do besides just events?
Great. So we have a coaching program called Boost.
Okay.
So Boost, we have 2 streams. One is called Boost Launch for people with ideas or people who have a job and they want to run a side hustle. That's what Boost is about. And also people who have launched something and it's still not making money. And there are a lot of people who've done that.
Yes.
So we help them to actually build a business.
Okay.
That's Boost Launch. Then we've got Boost Growth, which is now for existing businesses that want to grow. Like maybe they're not making enough money, they're not getting enough clients, and whether the revenue is low or whatever, we help them with the marketing, the sales, the customer success, and that's what that program is about. So those are the main things we do, and then we've got a conference coming up in October. And in addition to that, we have tours like to Silicon Valley coming up again next year, and that is open to anybody. And we are opening that up early, meaning if people need to save up, they can do that. But all our programs are meant to help you grow. Like I grew up in a village, I grew up in the township, so I understand. And I grew up in the city, and I've been all around the world to understand when someone says, "Oh, look at me, look, you don't understand." Like I do understand. I'm not saying it's trivial or like it's not valid. I'm saying like it's possible. Just saying it's possible, like to move and build something that's amazing. It doesn't mean like it has to be global. It's just really, if it's working, it should be able to take care of you and take care of your family and your other people.
Thank you very much for these events, and just like I said, whatever that you wanted to achieve, you've already achieved. I'm testimony to that this is my second time coming, but not only that, I've built solid relationships in business, but also outside business, because as a business person, it gets so lonely when you meet people that don't share the same vision as you. And also keep on doing what you're doing. Would like to know, where do people get hold of Pranary in terms of if they want to sign up for the programs that you've mentioned, or if they want to come to an event like this one?
Yes, so they go to pranary.com. So pranary.com. And then on all social media, it's Pranary1 or Pranary. And then to connect with me, it's on social media, Sandra's Piri. And then,
Are you also in all social media?
Yes, Sandra's Piri on all social media.
Thank you very much.
We have a WhatsApp group that's open to everybody, so I encourage people to join the WhatsApp group for whatever community, whatever city they're in, or just the main one.
So how do they get into the WhatsApp group?
If they go to sign up for any of our events that are coming up, they can join the WhatsApp group. Okay. But we can give you the WhatsApp link you can share. Okay. We'll that's pretty cool.
Thank you very much, Sandros, and continue doing what you do. We are grateful for you and the work that you do. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Now tell us about now your entrepreneurial journey. Like when you started, what was it like? What were like? Just take us through some of the companies, the businesses that you had before getting to Dutchess.
Yeah, sure. So, like I said, I was in advertising. I was the kind of employee number one. It was a friend of mine that started it, and learned a lot about business in the sense of and people management and pitching ideas and through that. And then the first business I launched myself as a 22-year-old Afrikaans guy was a brandy and coke on tap. I was like, I am a genius. This is going to be huge. It was a lot of fun, a big learning. You don't just jump into the alcohol industry. So the first learning was you can't just call Coca-Cola and they'll sell you their Coca-Cola for your drink. You have to go and make your own things. And those early learnings actually still apply to the Dutchess and now Dope, which I'll speak about. But that's...
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Leah Jabe. I am the Ecosystem and Business Development Coordinator at Ayoba.
So today we attended an event that Ayoba is in partnership with or is funding. They call you a blesser. Now, the blesser of Pranary events. What is your involvement with this event?
I don't know how to be a blesser, but I'll take that. So why we partnered with Pranary, it is because they had this community that we also wanted to reach as a platform. So we thought, why not learn together and support this great initiative that is reaching out to a mass of entrepreneurs in Cape Town and in Joburg. We thought, why not? We just did it, and we're still having a good relationship so far.
So for someone that didn't come today, and the fact that you guys decided because you saw that it's a great concept, for someone that did not come today, what did they miss out on?
Oh, they missed out on networking, one. They missed out to meet their possible partners or funders, as well as probably employees. And they also missed out in getting to learn more about Ayoba. Yeah.
So for someone that is interested to learn more about Ayoba, what is new when it comes to Ayoba? What is new besides just partnering with Pranary? What is new for businesses, for people that are into business, especially people that are small businesses from the township?
It's a great question. So what is new? What is not new? That has always been there, but people are not aware of, is that Ayoba is a very good platform for entrepreneurs who want to reach a mass numbers of customers, of possible customers and partners in Africa and around the world. So we built this super app in Africa, for Africa and the world. This platform is mainly, mostly created for our users who are in need of accessing information, not only information, also for businesses to access customers. So it's, I'll call it super app. So
So who can access, like what service provider do you have to use in order for you to be able to access Ayoba, and who can use Ayoba?
So if you're an MTN user, you can use the Ayoba app zero rated. That means that you can access the app even if you don't have data. If you on other networks, it doesn't mean that you can't access the app, but you also need to have data to be able to access it. So that means that anyone around Africa, in any place, you can send messages to your loved one, you can call them, you can send them photos, you can listen to music, as well as browse to all the news that are happening around the world, mainly in Africa. And then at the top, and the cherry on top on everything, is that you can also do business in Ayoba app. So we put all the businesses on our platform that they can reach. We have about 25 so far, 25 million active users daily across Africa. So yeah.
So what is it that you still look for when it comes to businesses? What is it that, for instance, if I'm a business, if I own a business, what is it that I need to have in order for me to be able to market my business with Ayoba?
So not necessarily market, but a platform to reach your target market. So what you need is you need to be able to be registered as a business. Secondly, you need to have an ID, passport, or papers to verify that you are who you say you are, and we can also verify your business if it is what it is you say it is. Also, that way we are not only protecting ourselves, we're also protecting our users. And then we go through a vetting process that takes about 3 days, and that's where we verify this is what you say you're doing, and then is it good quality? Are you sharing a good content that is also not explicit to our users? So yeah.
Thank you very much, Cecilia, and keep on doing a great job. Thank you for allowing us to interview you, and thank you for continuing supporting businesses like Pranary and businesses that are still upcoming out there. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Now, on the Dutchess, that was like a really novel idea. Like the time you started it 7 years ago, we didn't see a lot of alcohol-free, like gin and tonic. Now the alcohol-free gin as well now, and all of those type of things. But you started that. What sparked the idea, and what was it like in the early stages of your company?
Sure, yeah. It was definitely still early days for alcohol-free drinks. I don't even think we really expected it to take off as much as it did. But I'd done Branas, and I partnered with KWB, and they bought that business from me, which was great because I didn't want to move to Pranary. I did take some of the capital and said, okay, I'm going to go find my new project, and it will obviously be alcohol, and I'm going to go back to the Netherlands for the first time again, and I'm going to go see what people in Europe drink, and ended up basically partying. But I did speak to people whilst doing that, and interestingly enough, well, it was that 2016 people would know this, the gin craze. I mean, gin is still growing in Africa, by the way. It's like gin is only just getting started in Africa, but gin craze, and then more and more people, everyone I started speaking to said, listen, I'm actually trying to cut back my alcohol. So it was like now people openly talk about it, but then they mention it in like a survey, you know, they're like, talking about what should be new in alcohol, I'm trying to cut back, maybe something like that. So I came back and I said, okay, well, why can't we get alcohol-free beer, why can't we get alcohol-free gin and tonic? And from my learnings from Branas, I had spoken to food technologists and flavor houses and said, okay, well, let's build this product, and we built something that was pretty good. Like I was like, okay, this tastes like a gin and tonic. It's quite amazed, and I even pitched it to a few people, and I would like take my little sample bottle, and like I said, because I always start with investors, because you need to make a salary, you need to be able to get this thing going. If you can't pay yourself, you can't dedicate the time to building the business. So then that's the number one thing that the business needs is the founder. After a while, I was like, I think the product can be a bit better. And I remembered my aunt giving me this like botanical extracts that she made, like bitters or something. She made, and my dad calls her a witch, but she's always made these amazing like bitters, and she makes soaps and all kinds of things. And I added like 2 or 3 drops to my product, and it was just like, the Dutchess was born, and I knew I had something special.
Hi Sisi, welcome to our channel. My name is Kanye Swazanga. I have a few questions for you, but I'd like you to introduce yourself to our people first.
So my name is Ukwaida Nqiwa Twalo, and I invest in businesses, and that's what I do for a living.
Okay, so what is your involvement in Pranary? I know that you just mentioned that you invest in businesses, but what is your involvement in Pranary?
So the people that run Pranary, Sandra's Piri and Lelemba Piri, those are my incredible friends, and I'm always going to support what my friends do. If they have an event, I'm there.
So you mentioned that you invest in businesses. So what type of businesses do you invest in, and what do you look for when you are investing in a business?
What I look for, probably more than the business idea, I look for an incredible, trustworthy, consistent founder. If the founder is incredibly trustworthy, consistent. The numbers make sense.
Yes.
The idea makes sense. But probably I invested probably more the person than the idea. Because I also understand that if that's not the idea that kicks off, that person is capable of building whatever it is that I would prefer for them to build.
Thank you very much for your answer. So there's probably a young person, a young female, as beautiful as yourself, who's sitting at home, who has lost hope. And for someone that I would regard you as successful, because you're someone that is already investing in a lot of businesses, but according to how articulate you are when it comes to speaking, it proves that you're successful. What would you say to a young female who has lost hope, who doesn't even have a business idea? What would be your words of encouragement?
So for me, it's be consistent. If you're already doing something, continue doing that something.
Yes.
And if you believe in that something, be continuous and consistent in building that something. I promise you, building something every single day and adding hours every single day on your idea will give you what you need to get. And more than the consistency, I would say persevere.
Yes.
Perseverance. So my school song as a 6-year-old or 7-year-old, it was perseverance is our motto. And for me, I went to Parsons Hill Primary in the Eastern Cape in Port Elizabeth.
Yes.
And the school song said, persevere, and that should be your motto. So the more you're consistent, the more you persevere, it sounds lame. It sounds like she's not giving real, but I promise you, persevere. I promise you, I don't care. Like, do whatever. Sell shoelaces, but I promise you, if you sell those shoelaces and you are persevering and you are consistent, I promise you, year in, year out, you're going to make more money than everyone else. It's all about your passion, your perseverance, and I promise you, perseverance, consistency, those two words will make you an absolute millionaire. So persevere, black woman, persevere. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Sis Kwaita, and thank you for your encouraging words. Yeah, we hope that a lot of young people would learn from what you just said, and also young people out there who have businesses will keep in touch with you. So where do we find your?
So now you're putting me on the spot.
Yes, like how do we? So because I know there's probably a young person who says, I have those shoelaces and I want to buy them, but I want someone to invest in them. So where do we find you?
So contact me on Ukwaita, which is CHWAYITA, at Hatchery, which is HATCHERY.earth. Email me. Send me a pitch deck. Don't just email me and say, hi, Kwaita. Don't. Then I ignore you. Send me a pitch deck. Send me something that can convince me to care about having a coffee with you. Send me that. I'll have coffee with you. I will always ensure that I'll make time to have coffee with you. But send me something that makes sense. And then I'll have coffee with you. And then we can discuss whether I give you money or not. Yeah.
So let's stretch this. Let's take it further. So like from how articulate you are, let's say someone has an event and they'd like to invite you to come and speak, especially for young people that are in Philippi, because I'm from Philippi, where you can, because I feel like there's so much wisdom that you can be able to transfer to other young people. Should we also email you on that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So email me. And my father's been a pastor for the past 40 years. He's built a congregation at Google 1997. My father's built a congregation at Estranti. My father's built a congregation at Hout Bay. He's built a congregation at Kailicha Gopi, right across the Rands. So for me personally, my passion lies with Abantu Abamnyama. You know? So I can tell you about Abanaba Konza and Gonzonyetu who have, because of my assistance, advice, mentorship, that have broken barriers. You know, I will give you the advice. But if you're determined, if you want a life outside of what you are living, I will advise you. I will support you financially, emotionally, physically, spiritually. But I will stand with you if Lendo Uifunayo is legitimate and real. So, I will speak at your event, Philippe.
Okay.
Absolutely, because Philippe is right across C97. Right across the road. So I will do that. Just from Akulam Kulam, build that church in 97.
Thank you.
Always.
Thank you very much for your time, and thank you for your wise words, for your wisdom. And we hope that young people that are sitting at home or that will be watching this will learn a thing or two from what you've said, and they will email you and contact you, and you'll be able to assist them in taking and making sure that their dreams also become a reality.
Thank you.
Thank you, my love.
Okay, cool.
That's incredible. And you mentioned that the way you start, you like to pitch to investors. Tell us, like, what do investors look for? What have you done that is different that helps you to just kind of always get investors and then start? If you're not getting them, then what do you look at? What do you work on? Tell us about talking to investors, mate.
Sure, I think if I have to summarize the thing that I've been the most actively involved with in the last 7 years, it is fundraising. So it's interesting, you think you run a drinks company. I was 3.5 years I was fundraising. And there's some interesting stories I can maybe share on that too. But so from an investment deck perspective, what a lot of people, especially a few years ago, I think they're slowly getting there. People think it's about information, it's about having an answer to everything, it's about having the perfect, like you said, business plan. I realized people just like pretty pictures. They're like, you have to sell the idea with like beautiful pictures. You need to take them with on the vision. They're an investor, but they're a consumer first, right? So if you can get them to like want your product, then they can envision other people, their friends and family also wanting your product, and then they're like, ooh, I can make money with my friends and family. So that's kind of the way, but obviously I think it's really important. I think you offer like a course on how to structure a pitch deck. A lot of people, it's way too long. Like you've got a 10-pager, I must use a 10-pager. I've raised $5 million on 10 pages. Right, like you can go far away, but I think what they're also looking for, and you only do this by going at it, and is if you've done it before, if you've got a track record, and I think you need to be willing to always just figure it out on the go. Like investors are there literally to do like a due diligence on you as a person, not even on your brand or your like vision. They're there to like kind of test you, and you need to be able to like keep a straight face and like always have. You don't need to have an answer right there, but you always need to be able to work towards an answer or just answer something else. They don't even realize.
Hi, can you see my name is Lumka. I'm part of Build One South Africa, and I'm the strategic partnership lead for Western Cape.
Okay. And you are?
Hi, can you see? I'm Tokomia, and I am the provincial lead for enterprise development in the Western Cape at Bosa.
And you, sir?
Hi, I'm Rico Fallen. I'm the chairperson of the Western Cape for Build One South Africa.
Okay. Thank you very much. So I'd like to know a few things. What is it that you do, and what is your involvement with the event?
Okay, so Build One South Africa is a new political party contesting for 2024 elections, headed by Musi Maimane. I'm sure you know Musi Maimane. Yes. And we're here this evening, to sort of integrate, with entrepreneurs, have the right conversations, understand exactly, what it is that our entrepreneurs need to thrive, and what it is that we need to do to build a country that's conducive, for entrepreneurs. Yeah.
So what did you learn, like from what she just said about what you guys want to do as a party, but what is it that you've learned from the event today?
I think from the event, we took forward a very interesting perspective on entrepreneurship in the need for legislature and for the need for adequate representation of entrepreneurs, especially when it comes to areas of investment. We're working on something now called the Startup Act movement, and it's about basically enabling entrepreneurs and startup founders to have the kind of legislative support that they want, but then also looking from a grassroots level, looking at a you and me level. It's about understanding what it is that we as entrepreneurs need and how we as a state can look at working towards that for that.
So, Sir, from everything that they've just said and everything that you want to achieve as a party, what is it that you think young people need to look forward to in joining your party or voting for your party moving forward, since you are for entrepreneurship, since you are for people's growth? But what else is it that you've learned so far, and what is it that you are willing to bring in such spaces?
We as Build One Nation, what we can bring is positivity, transparency, love, dignity, and so many core values that we as a party can bring to the party. And to be part of this type of organization and this type of thing, this is what our country needs. This is what we need as a community in large. This is what we need as Build One South Africa, to engage with more people like this and be positive and change and bring Build One South Africa to the next level.
Thank you very much, and I like that there's more women representation in your party, and the fact that there's young people, not only females, but young females who are rooting for other young females, especially females in business, because we know what the struggles are. And where can we get hold of you? We just need in terms of social media, so that we can quickly leave.
Great, thanks, Kanye. So we are on Instagram, Twitter, Bosa, B-O-S-A, and also our website is called bosa.co.za. Build One South Africa is a movement, of South Africans for South Africans, and we'd like to, invite your listeners to, engage with our party and see what we can do for them, and as we build our country, as we rebuild our country. Thanks.
Thank you very much, guys, for your time, and thank you for coming, and thank you for allowing us to know more about what you guys do. We hope all the best for you, and also thank you for hearing our voices as entrepreneurs, because that's in a lot of spaces our voices are not heard, but our money is needed. So we are only called for investing, but thank you for being part of this, and thank you for taking it further and joining such spaces, because political parties are really removed from what is happening in the world. So maybe you're the first, and hopefully not the last. They'll get inspired from you. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
I see. And then for people who have raised maybe once and they're trying to raise even more money, what would be specific tips you would give to somebody who says, look, I want to now go to maybe seed or Series A and stuff?
I think it's very important to sell the opportunity. So you start by basically selling this really big opportunity, but you can quantify it and you get excited about it, you can explain it. And then on the other hand, you have to go that's the macro. And then the micro, for me, is you need to also in depth be able to explain that customer. So it's okay, great, well, and this is exactly that. This is John or Sarah that's buying the product currently. This is what she says about it. This is what she loves. This is the sales data that supports us. My rate of sale in this area. If we can replicate this sort of perfect model in other areas, then we can kind of extrapolate that it would look something like that. People money wants to grow, right? So all that these investors have to do, their job is to make their money grow. So if you can show them a money-making machine, that if they put their money in, it's going to grow, then you basically sell.